You're free. Be free. Oh, that is putrid. Okay. All right. Hello, my name is Hannah. Welcome back. Unless you're new, then welcome. Okay. May have noticed that my shelves are always kind of foobar, but they are like more foobar than normal. I have a video planned coming up, which required me to take 40-ish books off of my shelf and set them to the side. So we are making do. Today's kind of a fun, a little shorter, hopefully, little video. I'm going to be talking about books that I want to reread soon. This is gonna really kind of be part of a 2-video series. This part 1 is standalone books that I want to reread soon. So yeah, these are standalone books that I just want to reread at some point because I just really like them. My second part is going to be books I want to reread as part of series, parts of series, so it'll be a little more task-oriented. Well, this is just, I like these books. I want to talk a little bit first about TBRs. So this is kind of, but not really, a TBR. The eagle-eyed viewer will have noticed that I don't really do TBRs, like monthly TBR videos, and that's for a couple reasons, even though this is legally a TBR. The first reason is that I just, completely frank, I don't like the pressure of having my reading laid out for me before I do it. Part of that stems from the fact that I'm actually a pretty slow reader. I read like barely faster than speaking pace, which is why I actually every month, like, physical reading is maybe a third of my reading that I do every month, because I read so slowly. I can read faster, but I don't retain anything, and that is just like defeats the purpose. It just makes it so it's not fun to have pressure on my reading, because I'm not really like a mood reader per se, but I don't want it to feel like work or like homework. The other reason I don't really do monthly TBR videos is because, quite frankly, my reading plans are really unpredictable. A lot of my reading, like I said, is audiobooks, and I do all of my audiobooks through my library. So I'm really at the mercy of library availability for a lot of my reading. And now ARCs are really unpredictable, for me at least. So just honestly, even if I had the desire to and made a TBR video every month, I just wouldn't stick to it, which kind of defeats the purpose, to me at least. Now, having said that, this is kind of a TBR. I have 5 books here. Let me see if I can hold them up. I have 5 books here. And no real timeline on these. In my other video where I'm talking about books that I'm reading as part of series, rereading as parts of series, that's a lot more time constraint. These I just, maybe over the next year or so, I would like to get to these 5 books. And for that matter, on rereading is something that I'm kind of like just reintroducing myself to. As a kid, I had probably like 7 or 8 books that I reread constantly. Even as recent as like a couple years ago, I never would have let myself reread more than 5 books in a year, and I have 5 right here, and I've already reread some, and I'm going to reread even more. And there's some reasons behind that. Honestly, one of them was I really just liked seeing my numbers on Goodreads move from want to read to read. And I was very much obsessed with keeping my to be read on Goodreads under a certain number. That has flown out the window. Also, for the last several years, reading has kind of been like I was reading for a purpose. Again, as a bookseller, I wanted to get a really broad base and to have read a lot before I would let myself indulge in rereading. And I think I'm at the stage where I can indulge my reading impulses a little more, because I think I have that broad base. I've read a couple hundred books in the last 3-ish years, so I think I can afford to retrace my steps a little bit. And honestly, so far this year, between rereading Dune and rereading the Six of Crows books, I've been having a lot of fun. It's a really easy way to get yourself out of a reading slump, is to just pick something up that you know you're gonna like and you're gonna fly through. So that's kind of what these are. So yeah, I want to get to the 5 books and just kind of talk about them a little bit. All right. The first book I want to reread, I've been suckered by TikTok in the last couple months, and that is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. There is absolutely nothing new to say about this book because it's been talked to death about. But yeah, I first read it late 2018, early 2019, so it's been a couple years. I remember just absolutely adoring it, and now everyone's talking about it on TikTok again. I'm like, God, that sounds really fun. I want to have that much fun. And for no real reason, because I read it in winter last time I read it. It just feels like a summer book to me. I don't know why. So I might be reading that one as soon as like end of June, beginning of July. Once I finish Rule of Wolves, I want to read like one other book maybe, and then Song of Achilles. So that one I do plan to read pretty soon. Next book I want to reread is The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. This was a favorite of mine in high school. I have not read it since high school, and I'm always a little nervous because I'm like, this is one of my favorite books, but I'm like, I haven't reread it in years, so I'm sure it'll still hold up. I also want to eventually just do a big read through of all of John Steinbeck's books. I have East of Eden here. I've read The Pearl and Of Mice and Men as well. And I love these Steinbeck Centennial editions. I just think they're really pretty, and I've kind of been piecemeal grabbing them when I see them at Half Price Books. So yeah, I would like to eventually do like a big Steinbeck read through. And I think what better place to start than with The Grapes of Wrath. This also feels like a summer book, but more like an August book when all the grass like turns yellow and the dirt gets dry. No particular reason. So yeah, that might be a this August, that might be a next August thing. We'll see how much time I have. Next one up is Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. This is another book that I always recommend to people, and I say it's one of my favorite books, and I have it annotated to death. And as I've talked about before, when I was in college, I didn't read for pleasure basically at all, except probably once a year I read Cloud Atlas. But my biggest fear is that it's just not as good as I remember it to be. There's a story here. Because another favorite book that I had in high school and through college was Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. And that's a book that I recommended, told everyone it's one of my favorite books, couldn't get enough of it. And I'd read it probably like 6 or 7 times. But then in like 2018, I want to say, I was like, I'm about due for a Good Omens reread. And I read it and I was like, I don't like this. Like, this was not as... How did I read this so many times and liked it? Like, I don't know. Not to talk shit on Good Omens. It's just, that makes me very nervous that this other book that was a comfort read for me through college, I'm worried that it's not going to be as good as I remember. So, not really a timetable on that one, but we'll see. I'm also not saying what any of these are about. We all know what Song of Achilles is about. Grapes of Wrath is about Okies. Cloud Atlas is about the same soul reincarnated 6 times throughout the course of human history, told in different formats, very different styles. It's awesome. Number 4 on the list is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read this one not that long ago. Right? I think I read it not that long ago. Eventually, there's going to be a Hulu series of Daisy Jones and the Six, and it's going to star Riley Keough and Sam Claflin, and it's going to be awesome if they ever film it. I have a lot of books on my shelves that I read solely for the reason that it's going to be a movie or going to be a TV show. I could honestly make many, many videos about that, because that's like one of my favorite things on earth, is tracking the process of a book becoming an adaptation. I actually have a kind of running letterbox list that is anticipated book adaptations. It's not shows, it's just movies. And I make notes on that list of what I have read, or if I'm currently reading something, and once I see the movie, take it off the list. So that's why it's kind of running, rotating list. And my fifth and final upcoming standalone I would like to reread it book is, of course, Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. This doorstop, affectionately called the Brick in the Mis head community. I have read Les Mis. It's honestly, I think it's one of the reading accomplishments that I'm most proud of. I listened to an unabridged audiobook. I would check it out from the library, listen to it nonstop for 2 weeks, and then my library loan would expire, and it had to go back to the library. I'd get back in line, pick up where I left off. It is maybe the least efficient way to read a book. It was a 58-hour audiobook that took me 3 months to get through. There's a new-ish Penguin Classic edition of it that is just beautiful. It is, I want to say, the first unabridged English translation of Les Mis done by a woman. I don't know if that's correct. But eventually, this is kind of like my white whale video that I probably won't do for a very long time. Because again, there's not really a timetable on rereading this. I would like to reread Les Mis maybe twice. I want to read the novel of the century, and then I want to watch a bunch of Les Mis adaptations. The 1995 Les Mis, the 2010 Les Mis, the 2012 Les Mis, 2019, the BBC series, the movie from the 70s with Liam Neeson, probably one of the old silent films. But the more I think about that video and what I would like it to be, the more it sounds like a dissertation. So, I don't know. So, this is very much like a eventual distant future reread, but I love Les Mis. But yeah, these are my upcoming standalone reread plans. Blah. Beautiful. Like I said, I have many more that I'm like, yeah, of course I would love to reread We Are the Ants and this and that. Yeah, these are the ones that I'm like, I really want to reread these. So yeah, I've got some upcoming videos planned. Find out why I felt compelled to pull 40 books off of my already falling over shelves. And I'm going to talk about kind of a part 2 of this is going to be my upcoming series rereading plans. Thank you for watching. This should be, God willing, a shorter video than normal. If you want to suggest that I maybe prioritize one of these, not Les Mis, over the others, let me know. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!